Hey guys, Bobby Hughes here with the Heritage Pride Urban Homestead, and I am back to bring you guys video number 3 of the Aquaponics Grow Towers or AquaTowers build. In this video we're going to be making our basically our water entry and water exit point for our grow towers. If you've seen video 1, I kind of showed you the drain system. It's a piece of 4-inch PVC pipe. It runs along the bottom, and the towers will actually set in that and drain into that and back to the sump tank. I don't know if we went over water delivery system. I'll have to go back and look, but if not, we'll go over that in another video. Alright guys, so let's start going over the original tower, and then we will go over how to build it. And also we'll go over some of the things that went wrong with the original design and what I've done to combat those problems. So let's start at the top. This is where our water comes from, our water delivery system from our sump tank into the top of it. Now you want somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 8 gallons an hour is what they say. I don't know how many gallons an hour I'm feeding mine. I know I started it low, and if it didn't look like the plants were doing good, I'd kick it up a little bit more. One thing I have found is that running through an aquaponics system, the bigger the supply, the better, because you get stuff in your sump tank, especially mine. I add different things to my water to help with the potassium and the chloride and things like that. And one of those things, kelp meal for instance, it looks like Italian seasoning basically. Well, that stuff doesn't dissolve right away. It kind of, you put it into the sump and it'll kind of get sucked through the tank, and it kind of spits it out everywhere, which is okay because it gets that delivery to all the plants and everything. But in a small scale line setup, if you remember, we ran into this in the hydroponic rail system build. Those little 1/4-inch tubes, they block up, and you get gunk in there, and they get all nasty and all this other stuff. So the bigger the supply, the better. In the original design of these tanks, so basically the water line comes in. I had a 1/2-inch line. And I was using irrigation piping, flexible irrigation tube. And I used as many irrigation fittings as I could. Why? Because they're cheap. And that's what we was going for. But because they're cheap, they're also super brittle. So in the new design, we did away with all the irrigation fittings, and we're using either regular PVC or Schedule 80 PVC. And the Schedule 80 PVC is where you find like your nipples and stuff like that. We got a 4-inch Schedule 20 cap here. That just sets right on top of our grow tower. Now in the original design, your water came in, it just hooked onto this nipple right here via a flexible connector. So I'd put a flexible irrigation fitting in here, one of these. It would just screw right into there, and then you would bring your flexible irrigation 1/2-inch irrigation line right over and pop it down on the top of it. The problem with that is it's not an easy quick disconnect. Once that irrigation tube is on there, it's hard to get off, so it's not a quick disconnect. There's no way to quickly disconnect this from the system once you use these irrigation lines. So we toss those out. Now everything is done with regular plumbing fittings, and what I'm using now for a water delivery system is a braided toilet supply line. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, these are not cheap. These are about $5 a piece. But it is so worth the $5 a piece for them. I'm hoping maybe that when we do our big scale stuff, that I can contact the company and buy them maybe in bulk instead of paying $5 a piece for them at the Lowe's or big box store. So anyway, this is a 20-inch reinforced PVC 1/2-inch FIP supply line. It's 1/2-inch on both sides with rubber washers, so no Teflon, which is cool. Now what I want you to make sure that you do, or you're going to spend even more money, is get the supply lines with the plastic connectors on it. Alright, plastic metal connectors do not like to thread onto plastic fittings. Here's a metal one. The metal one does not like to thread onto the plastic. It'll try to cross thread on you. It'll try to strip the threads, and then when you tighten it up or loosen it up to take it on and off, you're going to run into issues. You're going to have problems with your threads wearing out on those plastic fittings, on those plastic nipples. So go with the plastic, hand tightenable. You can hand tighten these connectors on your supply lines, and these things work awesome. The tubes are a little bit small, but so far I haven't had any problems with blockage in it, and it works really well. So good to go there. So that's your supply line. So this will tie into your shutoff valve that's on your water delivery system that we'll go over in another video, and then it'll come over to the other side and come right down and tie right into the top of your grow tower, just like that. Alright, and that's your water delivery system. And it works really well so far. So that was the first change. Now, let's take a cap off and take a look on the inside. Alright, so in the original design on the inside of the cap, I used these Rainbird irrigation fittings. Once again, using irrigation fittings, bad idea. These were a 360-degree fan nozzle. My idea is that when the water came in, I wanted that fan to fan out and run down the pipe all the way down so that it hit all the net cups, all the roots, and it did a really good water delivery system. Because if you have just a straight input into that empty pipe and that water's in the back of the pipe here, it's just going to right down through the back of the pipe, and it's not going to hit any of your roots. I mean, you may get a little bit of residual mist or something on it, but it's not going to supply it. Well, problem with it is this little guy. It would clog up, and then your fan nozzle would not work. And without this, your fan nozzle clogs up and doesn't work. So either way, you're screwed. No good, right? Toss that idea out. Now what we do is we use some Metalla pond filter. I think that's how you pronounce it, Metalla pond filter media. And this is the most coarse pond filter media they have. They actually have different levels of filter media. They have green, which is the most coarse. Then they have blue, which is the next level. And then they have black, which is the most fine, I think, or most dense. I think that's how it goes. Green, blue, black. And it's pond filter to put in your pond filter things for your pond. Well, anyway, it's kind of expensive, but it's really cool stuff. So basically what we did was we cut it into a strip to where it would slide right down into the back of the grow tower like that. Now you can see how it's kind of lined up there. And so now the roots will actually grow into that, and the water delivery hits here, and then it follows all of that, all those little fingers and interwebbing and connection. It just kind of runs down all of it. And so it feeds your roots directly because the roots grow into that, and then yeah, it just works really well. So that was the next change that we made. So originally without the media, let's pull that back out. So we had our fan nozzle in here with our clog problems and clog issues. We're going to talk about another problem that we had. So we had our fan nozzle in there, and it was blowing water down through here. No media in the back of it. We had our net cups in. And it was getting everything good and wet, but we had clogs. Well, before we had clogs, we had water leakage. And the water leakage, what would happen is the water would run. Let me find my reference here. The water would hit and run down the back of this, and then hit right on this little lip right here, run across, and then somehow would work its way out of the corner of the mouth. I call it the mouth because it looks like a mouth. Would work its way out of the corners of the mouth and drool. And it would drool all the way down, and then it would just right off the side. And so I was leaking water out of my system. So I was just basically running the water from my sump tank through my grow towers. It was drooling out, and it was just running out on the ground. So I thought, well, maybe if we add the grow media to that, it'll combat the problem. So we did away with the clogging fan nozzle, and we added our grow media into it, our Matella grow media. Added that in. Took the fan nozzle off, and we're left with a neat little tip here on that thing. See how that kind of reduces down, kind of concaves down into that, and then it just fit right down on the top of that grow media. And I thought, well, maybe that'll combat it. Maybe the water will stay in the media, it'll follow that down and not actually mist or spray onto the back here to where it'll drool out of the mouth of the neck, or out of the mouth of the tower. Nope. Still did it. Not near as bad, but it still did it. I was still draining my sump tank out. So that brings us to the bottom of our tower. We're going to take this out and show you the original bottom. So here's the original bottom. Have a couple little screws in there to hold it on. Another 4-inch cap, Schedule 20 cap. Drilled a hole in the bottom. Put a female 3/4 inch female PVC connector on this side and a 3/4 inch male connector on the inside, and then sandwich them, screwed them together, sandwich them between this 4-inch cap. So the water would come down and it would just drain right through the bottom into our drainage pipe that went back to the sump tank. So that idea worked really well, that design worked really well, but I was still leaking water. It was drooling out of the mouth and leaking on the ground. So let me show you what we did to fix that. Okay, so what we're going to start doing is working on the new bottom section for the system. So with the old one, like I said, what was happening was the water was spilling out of the mouth. It was running down the outside of the pipe, dripping over the edge of this, and then running out onto the ground, which is not cool. The whole purpose in this system is to recycle our aquaponics water and such, and so we don't want to lose all of our water, all of our good aquaponic water on the ground. Defeats the purpose. So the new design is to take a 6-inch Schedule 20 PVC cap, and it will actually set down in here like this, the tower will. So any water that spills out around the outside of the mouth will run down into here, and it'll be trapped inside of here and then run back into the system. And then that way we don't lose any water. And there is a little bit of exposure of water to temperature change because of it being exposed here, or evaporation, but it's very minimal. Very little water, and this is deep enough that this thing will kind of protect from any air movement or anything like that. So what we do basically is, with your 4-inch cap on the bottom, you just mark center, obviously, drill it out big enough that you can fit a 3/4 inch connector through the hole, just like that. We're going to do the same with this. Alright, so the way we do that, the easiest way to do that, is to take you a drill bit and drill you a pilot hole, just to get you, make sure that your hole is dead center. So we just drill a pilot hole, and then we will use what's called a step bit or uni bit, which is this. Chuck it up in the drill, and then we will drill it out until we can get the same size hole as that. Boom. That easy. So we just want to clean up some of our little burrs here. And now we've got our 2 caps, and they're lined up like that. Alright. So, next step is to go ahead and set these aside, and this is going to be our drain system here. So I've got a 3/4 inch male connector, it's slipped to threaded, and a 3/4 inch female slipped to threaded. And so they're going to thread into each other just like that. And that's how it was in the old system too. The only thing now is we don't want our water level. Originally it was just like that. The water level in the bottom would have to be up as high as that. I'm trying to keep the water level as low as possible because we're going to have that little bit of residual water that sets in the bottom of that 6-inch cap, and I don't want it to have to be that deep all the time, so we try to keep it as low as possible. So what I'm going to do is we're just threading that into there to make little handholds, and we're going to switch to a 3/8 drill bit in our drill, and then we'll just drill us a series of holes right around the edge here. To help keep that water level as low as possible. Now that'll let the water flow in without having to flow up over the edge. Alright, next step. We need to take our tower here. I'm going to switch a camera angle here in just a second. So I can get you set up down here where you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so now we need to take this bottom section. We need to make it to where, because now if the water's flowing down the outside of the pipe into that 6-inch cap, we need that water that's in that 6-inch cap to be able to get inside of this to be able to get down. So what we're going to do is drill a series of bigger holes, 1/2-inch holes, all the way around the bottom of our tower, and that'll allow water to flow from the outside in. And one thing we need to do, try to keep everything lined up to make it easier, I hope you'll be able to see, is we're just going to take and make us a mark, so that way when we put our cap back on, we know that we're in line. And the big thing is keeping it nice and tight around the edge here, and then we'll just take and start off, and we want to drill these holes as close to the bottom down here as we can get them. Alright, now next step, last step pretty much in the bottom here. When we put these two caps together and we put our fitting through there, there's going to be water out here, and of course we put Teflon on our fitting here that helps screw the two PVC pieces together, because they don't like to screw together. You use Teflon, it'll help with that, and it'll prevent it from leaking. We want a seal between the two here, which is the only place where it could leak out, between here and out the bottom. So we need to put a washer in there, a rubber washer. Well, unfortunately, I couldn't find a rubber washer that would fit 3/4 inch male connector the way I wanted it to. So what we do is we get some rubber gasket making material or rubber washer making material, and we make our own. And I'm just using this little serving cup thing here as a pattern for our outside diameter of our washer. And then it doesn't have to be beautiful, just close. And then we'll take our 3/4 inch male connector, put it kind of in the center of it, and then draw us a line around that. Just like that. And then we'll use some scissors to cut out our rubber washer. And then for our center, we'll just take a utility knife and cut it out, just kind of freehand it here. I know what you're thinking. It's a lot of steps, right? A lot of steps to building these things. But if you can build one for 1/3 of the price, I know the whole thing, time is money. But if you've got time to do this yourself and can save the money, then that's why we do it. So as a prepper, as a homesteader, it's all about saving money. Even if it takes some time, it still saves money. See right there, it makes a rubber washer. And then this just goes right down in here like this, back in here like this. And then we will go ahead and find some Teflon tape. Alright, couldn't find my good gray Teflon tape, so we'll have to use some of this white tape. There's a black or gray Teflon tape. It's called fast tape, and it's really cool because you only have to use about 2 passes with it. With this, it's thicker. This stuff is thinner than regular Teflon is. You have to make more passes with it than you do with the cheap stuff, or with the better stuff. So anyway, put your male connector through the bottom there. Put your rubber washer on here. And put your top piece on, and then oops, other way, just like that. Then we'll take our female connector and tighten it down on there just like that. And that's our assembly for the drain. Alright guys, so now that our bottom's done, it's time to work on our top. So just for the measurement purposes or whatever, we want our water to come in 1.5 inches from the back of the pipe. And that's about the center of that Metella filter insert that we're using. So it's 1.5 inches to the center of this, so that'll set perfectly down right in the top of that filter media or filter fabric or whatever you want to call it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a new 4-inch top cap here. We're going to go center. Alright, so center of your cap is going to be about 2 1/4. Alright, and then we're going to come 1.5 inches from the back side of it. So right there is where we want our input to be. So once again, we're going to take our small drill bit and we're going to drill us a pilot hole. And then we'll take our uni bit, a step bit, and drill it out. This one doesn't have to be as big, we're just going 1/2 inch with it. So once our 1/2 inch nipple will fit down in there. good. Clean it up a little bit. Now, not for waterproofing purposes or anything, because no water will get out, but just for tightness, so that it fits good and snug, we need to take up some of the extra space. So what I'm using is 5/8 hose washers, basically. And so what we'll do is we go through the top here, we put one of these 5/8 rubber washers on here, and it's a little bit snug, but it'll work. That's why I made my own, because it's hard to find rubber washers that fit stuff perfectly. So we'll go with a 5/8 rubber washer, and then on the bottom here, this is just a little 1/2-inch nipple, 1/2-inch PVC nipple. Go through the bottom there, and then we're using one of these. These are the irrigation fittings that work for the fan heads. So those fan heads just thread right on there, and you can actually buy just these little plastic adapters. They're a 1/2-inch plastic adapter, and they come in a 2-pack, and they're a lot cheaper than buying the fan heads. And I'm just using those because those work really good for what we're doing. It's like perfect for what we're doing. No Teflon on the bottom of that, it doesn't matter. And then what we'll do is take another rubber washer, and put down over the top here. And the problem with these 5/8 washers is they're just a little bit too small, and so they like to bunch up on you and turn over upside down and twist and all this other stuff, and it's kind of a pain to get it to set down on there flat. Then we're going to take a 1/2-inch threaded coupling and just thread it right down on top of our nipple there. And then I've got a socket wrench here. It just makes it a little bit easier. And it just fits right on that nipple. That's a 15/16. Fits right on that plastic adapter. And then we'll just tighten that down. Till we get a good snug fit. And then the idea there is, though, so that this won't twist around too much. Makes it nice and tight. That nipple, if you didn't put those rubber washers on there, this whole apparatus would just kind of spin around. And I like for it to be good and snug. No water would leak, but it wouldn't be good and snug. Now we're going to take for my application, and it can vary, but you'll see when we go out to the greenhouse, I'm going to take a 2-inch or a 1/2-inch by 2-inch nipple here and put on here. Because I just need some extra height. We can take our other channel locks, and that way we don't over tighten our plumbing fittings or that adapter. So we're just going to take that 2-inch nipple and tighten it down in there a little bit. It doesn't have to be super tight, you just want it snug. And then we're going to take this, like I said, once again for my application, we're going to take a 1/2-inch female threaded to 1/2-inch male threaded 90, and we're going to put it on the top of this nipple here. One more turn will be good. And then we want it facing forward, like that, roughly. So that would be the top look of the assembly. And then there's where water comes in, there. And then we'll take one of our 1/2-inch supply lines that we got. Can't stand these stickers. And then this just threads right on here, and you'll see how easy these plastic things thread onto the plastic, and then you just hand tighten it. It doesn't even have to be super tight. And now our water, this end will hook up to our water delivery, and this will come right into the top. And then one thing to remember when you're putting it all together is take and waller you out a little hole in the top of the media here, so that when that cap slides down on there, so I can get you in the camera angle here, that cap slides down on there, it kind of fits right in that knockout there. That way we don't get any water splashing around anywhere else. So now that's it. Pretty much got the top and the bottom sections made, and we'll just slide it all together. And that's it. Grow tower assembled. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. It was pretty long, I understand. It was kind of a long video going over all the components and what went wrong with the last ones and what we're doing to change it. And I know I was kind of all over the place and everything, but like these videos, they're not for production or for to get, you know, likes and yeah, I'm not trying to win a video making contest on these videos. I don't want to show you guys the wrong way to do it. This is probably the 4th or 5th or maybe 6th change that I've made on these grow towers to get them to work to my advantage the way that I want to get them to work. Okay, hang on just a second. Okay. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you what finally worked for me. And this tower right here works perfectly. I have no complaints now with this tower. It works flawlessly. I have no issues with it at all. And I've been running them like this for a few weeks now, and they're working great. I have no issues with them. Like I said, you know, it's a long video and it goes through a lot of stuff, but I want to make sure that you guys get the end result that you're looking for, and you're not wasting a lot of money on a grow tower that I tell you to build that'll work and then it not work. So like I said, this one works. I know it works. I've been using it and I like it, and I'm happy to be able to deliver this idea to you guys to use, and it worked properly. So anyway guys, don't forget to check out the suggested videos in the suggested video little thing up here. And there's Stevie. Also, if you've not seen our other videos, go back to our channel and just click on the little box right here, and that'll take you back to our YouTube channel, and you can check out all of our other videos and things going on around the homestead, and also with the aquaponics and hydroponics. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, pop them in the comment section below down there. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. And oh, check out the description. We always put our Instagram handle and Facebook page link in there for that, so you can go like us on Facebook and on Instagram, and you'll get a lot of updates and stuff before they're even on video. So anyway guys, that's the end of the 3rd video. We have our grow towers constructed. My battery is almost dead, so I'm going to go put it back on the charger so that I can take you guys out, show you the water delivery system and what it looks like with these things in action. So I'll try to get that video done up today, and I will probably just go ahead and post all of these videos in series. So watch out for that next video. It'll be up probably within a day or so after you watch this one, if not sooner than that. Anyway, that's it, dudes. And gals. Till next time, get out there, shoot some guns, be safe, and most importantly, have fun. See you guys later.